Welcome back to another ACE Solent video. We are doing our team recap, Team25 Europe this time, and we've got a very familiar face with Nigel, so welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we're doing this a little bit differently this year, aren't we? So we're doing it at the actual end, after one of the busiest weeks, I think.
It has been
we've
busy,
had,
yes.
going for a really, really long time. Yeah, I mean, just while we sit here and kind of have our first
cheers.
cheers, yeah, cheers. Have our first drink. What did you think of team?
Very good. A lot going on. I mean, should we talk about the run up to team? Because I think
that's a really good place to start.
So I'm sure most people are aware. Just the run up to team, that like 5 or 6 weeks ahead of team. Just a flurry of Atlassian announcements. We had Cycle, if you remember that one.
Yeah.
That was the first, which is the customer insights, probably going to link to JPD.
That's what we're talking about, of course, yeah.
We had the browser company, which is quite an interesting move. We're not quite sure Atlassian are doing that. And
I mean, like, we saw some glimpses.
There
was a little bit right at the end of the keynote that we had 2 days ago. No, yesterday. Oh, I'm losing my mind. But there's a little bit of glimpse, but again, it still seems fresh.
And I spoke to I had a booth at the Atlassian stand, the browser company, had a chat with them, and I basically asked them, what can you tell me? And there was like, nothing yet.
Maybe they don't know this. They clearly don't know themselves just yet.
Maybe, but that was an exciting announcement, and I think we're not quite sure where that's going to go. But I think interesting direction.
Yeah.
And then I think the biggest two come next. There was the DX announcement, which is I think it's quite huge, and we'll probably talk about that later on.
Yeah, it's going to come up.
And then the final fourth bit of news was, of course, the sunset for data center, which no one's surprised about, but obviously when the news lands, it becomes reality.
I think it's always one of those where it's a shocked but not shocked. So it's a shocking at the timing, not shocked that it's going to happen. I think that's the easiest way of looking at it.
But I think it was decent of Atlassian announcing it ahead of team, so that when people come into team, they can talk to
could you imagine if they announced that at team?
Like a week after? But a week after.
Yeah.
They did the right thing, because people came to team with questions, asking advice, knowing what they wanted to find out while they were here. So I think that was really good.
It was. And actually, to be honest, being in Europe, being in some of the, I would say, maybe more regulated, or maybe less cloud assertive.
Maybe.
It was. There are a lot of really good DC questions actually at our booth for Appfire. So it was really, really good actually.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah. So lots of big announcements
ahead of it.
So what did we then learn in the keynote?
Oh, I think there was a lot of AI, basically. We could stop the recording now, I think, but there's a lot of AI.
AI done.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the things that interested me are probably not massive announcements, but together there was, I think they said 120 plus enterprise improvements to AI.
Which is huge.
It is huge. So just some of the things that I think are useful. There was lots of data residency. There was the SOC compliance HIPAA, ISO 20001, there was the ability to do role-based access.
Yes.
And all of these, so you could roll it out to different groups.
Which I really like, because when you actually think, oh, hey, users, here's an AI tool, that it's never going to get the enablement that you want.
Right.
So being able to control it.
Or just we can send it out to some service teams to start with, and maybe the development teams next, or a business team. You've got control.
Yeah, it gives
rather
a bit
than
more
just
focus.
So all those who don't sound like that exciting, they just open the door for some of the large organizations to start embracing Rovo.
So do you think this is all about trying to, I hate to use the term AI readiness, because I actually don't think enough companies, they think they're AI ready, but they're not. But do you think this is trying to enable those companies to become AI ready?
A lot were waiting for this sort of feature, like the data residency. I know several customers who are waiting for that.
Yeah.
That now it's happened, we can now move forward.
Yeah.
And I think so those are exciting for me, even though they're not huge or unexpected announcements. The fact they're here now is a really big step up. I think, for Rovo.
Absolutely. I think the one thing that I want to touch on actually is something that they announced, a new thing called units. So there's a few things I saw, a few slides, not much, but a few slides, which was kind of this idea, especially for large global businesses, where they will have different regulations for different parts of the world and different parts of their business. Maybe you've got manufacturing, maybe you're in aerospace, and now you can kind of bucketize, and it's got its own teamwork graph.
So fun thing about doing live announcements is a lady with a trolley just going past, but it's fine.
Oh, it's always great.
It was all great. Anyway, there we go. You're right. So managing a large organization is tricky because you end up with a list of like 100 sites or whatever you've got in the ecosystem. Finding out which ones are related, which ones are grouped together is hard.
Yes.
So now the ability is to sort of group them together, these units, and then you have perhaps identity management, certain policies, certain data residency controls at each of those levels.
Yeah.
We don't know much. All we saw was a screenshot and a little bit of a description, but it certainly sounds like a really good evolution for those expanded enterprises. And I think that and the AI changes we just mentioned so far feel like they are very much making the platform more enterprise ready all the time.
Yeah, I think it's what, like I said, what I really like though was when we start thinking or bringing this back to some of the later announcements for Rovo and Atlassian Intelligence and everything, is the idea of separated teamwork graphs. Right,
Yes.
and now companies should hopefully feel a little bit more safe and secure that your American defense data wouldn't touch European defense data.
Correct, yes.
And now you can have very much more focused conversations without cluttering results.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was really, really good, especially for when you get to, you know, some of the businesses that are still on DC and want to come to cloud.
Of course, there is role-based access at each site, but again, it's very easy for data to leak between graphs, as you say. So the more protection, the better, really.
Yeah, it just gives the feeling that it is ready to scale now.
Right.
And I think that's the important key thing from Atlassian at this point, which is they've made the announcement for DC going down, and they need to make sure their cloud is ready to roll.
Yeah.
For the new stuff.
Absolutely. Should we have some more AI?
I think we have
Because we moved off AI for a second, so we better get back.
We better get back.
So it's a couple of little fun announcements. Rovo Search is now in Jira, which means it's the same consistent interface as Confluence.
Oh,
small.
Thank God.
But yes, I'm so glad to see that, because it did frustrate me. You got the same interface and got the bar at the top. Obviously they needed to fix that, and it was just a matter of when. I think Jira Product Discovery should now have Rovo rolling out soon. Goals, projects, focus, talent.
Yeah.
You know, again, we're making AI across the whole ecosystem rather than it being a Jira Confluence JSM tool.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
It is. It is. I think that like as businesses start to kind of swell up in terms of like bringing or the way I have always thought of Jira is more of like turning into this command center, especially over the last couple of years, which is, you know, let's hook in, let's think about the best practice tools that we are encouraged to make. You know, most SDLCs are like 20 plus tools. Right. So let's hook them in.
More, yes.
Exactly. You know, and I think Atlassian recognized this, and actually that's the key thing, which is, okay, well, we have Jira with 20 plus integrations, so should Rovo, and so should Rovo be over there, and so should Rovo be over there.
Well, it's just embedded throughout the tools. You've got this consistent chat and the ability to use the team graph and everything throughout the whole tool set.
Yeah,
That's
that's the lovely bit, and it's a small thing. It's been around for a while, but I do love it, which is, especially on Confluence, you've got the little Rovo button just on the bottom. And it's always there. It's always, I can open it, I can ask, I can query, but it's the same, like having that seamless experience now going across my
There's
Atlassian
quite a few
suite.
Rovo is everywhere discussions, which was it's part of your browser, it's part of the tools, it's a browser extension. Desktop app? That's cute.
Desktop and mobile. I thought that was a little good. Their demo of, hey, query a spreadsheet and then find the duplicates and do this. I love that.
Oh, me too.
I love that.
And it's just the fact that you're never moving away from it. And I think, you know, we talked about the browser company. I suspect that's just another angle for that as well. It's just we're going to be in more places all the time.
It'll be interesting to see.
So skills.
Oh, love skills. Honestly, for a man of automation, I love skills.
Yes, this is what I thought of you when they announced that. It's just so skills. If you haven't seen the keynotes, are some instructions you can give to the agents in order to do things. And I think for me, I mean, it's like things like sending an email or searching the web. And it's been things that Rovo could do some of before. But I think they've made it now clear what the intention is that you're asking it to do. And it's now becoming very, very clear that I am asking you to send an email. It's saying, okay, I'm going to send it a Gmail or something like that. And I really think that clarity is great, and that ability to automate and Just have precise instructions.
It is, but the biggest thing for me was that is the third-party connections and the basic search.
Yes.
Because while Rovo had legs before, only restricting data access and indexing and actions from like within the Atlassian ecosystem was only ever going to get us so far.
Yes.
But the fact that you can now bring in, the fact that you can, the fact that we can now say, okay, the one example that I actually spoke to Mark Ruth about today, which was, you know, you do some market research or a new thing comes into JPD and you go, do you know what? Yeah, okay, let me just double check and make sure this isn't a duplicate.
Yeah.
Right? So you ask, it goes off, it finds the duplicate or doesn't. And then you go, okay, well, is this now an industry problem? Right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. And yeah, I could go Google search for 3 hours or I could ask something to do it for me.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
Right?
Just collecting that like market research data, things like that.
And I love that story, and I think that is where we'll start to see the unlock. So then you mentioned about the Gmails. Okay, well, what happens if you say, okay, well, hey, we think this is a new direction that we want to take the product. We need to consider this for some new releases. Do you know what we're going to do? Is we're going to send an email to key stakeholders. We're going to set up a Google Calendar meeting. Or we can set up Zoom, and I saw that, and then they were doing things like with HubSpot and Canva. And
all about 100 skills, is
yeah,
it? That's great.
Yeah.
So there's something to play with.
Yeah, definitely.
So the other thing I think was really exciting was the third-party applications that Atlassian discussed.
We're very happy about that.
I bet you are, yes. I imagine so, yes. Atlassian described adding Canva as basically a member of your teammate to making the assignee of a ticket.
Yes.
And for the first time in the world of Jira, we've seen 2 assignees. One being
Clarify,
and then the actual person itself, the owner.
So genuinely multi-assignees, or what are we talking?
No. So one of them is going to be an agent assistant.
Okay.
Who's going to be going off doing some activity.
Okay.
But the assignee, as you'd expect, is the person accountable for that ticket at that time, which I love. And Mike talked a lot about human AI collaboration.
Yes.
As being how his vision for how agents and humans work together to be more productive.
So we are not replacing, or we're not removing the original ownership or responsibility, but what we are saying is, hey, let me make your life slightly easier. That's the story we're going with.
Yes.
And I think that's a perfect
we're going to work in collaboration to achieve this.
Yes. And I think that's the best story.
So the idea was that you'd assign one of these third-party applications to the ticket, as well as yourself. It would go off and perform some activity, some trigger effectively, perhaps come back and update the ticket, provide some extra context, work, something like that, and then perhaps move the status or something to the next phase. Love that.
Yeah, and talking of triggers, they were even saying about scheduling these Rovo agents to just run, which I thought was a great little addition as well.
Yeah, the triggers,
right? Again, come back to automation. People's first thing on a Monday morning might be to go and do X, Y, and Z jobs. So
let's create me the project reports, status reports while I'm on the train, 7 o'clock on a Monday or something like that. By the time I get into work, it's ready for me to send out to my stakeholders. Love it.
That is perfect. Okay, so there are a few other little things that I think were key, or certainly for me.
Little?
Well, it's certainly not, but we'll see. First of all, Rovo Chat. The ability to upload photos and have actions or tasks or whatever might come from it. I thought that was a really nice little thing.
Yeah.
But the more important one, Rovo Studio and Forge.
Studio, yes. So Studio has definitely leveled up. And as we're recording this, they're dismantling all the tables, but we'll push on. It's nice to
It is.
So the studio's really come along. It's now added quite a few capabilities and skills and things like that. But the ability to create Forge apps, I think, was the moment which caught everyone's attention in the keynote talk live. So they showed natural language, creating like a dashboard within Jira as a Forge application. Very quickly, it built it, deployed it, showing it running, and then once it had been created, they used vibe coding techniques to like extend it, make it prettier, add some extra functionality. Wow. Yeah. If that's half as good as they demoed it, because it wasn't really a demo, it was like a point through, click through.
It was.
But if the reality is half as good as that, it'll be unbelievable.
I think the nice thing about this is that Yeah, this is a much bigger conversation. London CLC, this will come out before you. So on Monday, this will definitely be a panel talk. But there has to now be, the total cost of ownership versus, buy versus build versus bot.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important question for every single business to be asking themselves, which is, we don't want the risk. We don't have the technical skills. We don't have the ability to manage this properly. We're going to go buy.
Yeah.
However, we do have some skills, and it's such a unique use case that no one has that. So we are going to go and do that.
Yeah.
And actually, do you know what? This could just be a bot. We don't even need this anymore. It can just be automated.
Citizen developer, one business use case, one thing that's slowing us down or needs extra. Yes, absolutely. Let's fix that.
That is really, I think it's going to make companies move that little bit faster. It's going to remove the original blockers about trying to make Jira fit them better.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay.
So we talk collections.
I think, let's move on.
So collections, as we spoke last time in Anaheim, collections were starting to land. There was definitely the service collection, things like that. There's these strategies. So there's been more. More collections is what's happened. Should we start with service?
I think so. That's an easy one.
Okay, So service collection, Jira Service Management, of course, Rovo. We're going to talk Rovo throughout all of these.
Yeah.
Let's assume Rovo's in all the collections.
Yes, they've got specific agents for each one, but it's Rovo.
Yeah. The exciting news is customer success service management, CSM, which is a new product. Some very exciting screenshots showing it, but it's the idea is that Atlassian are going after the business to consumer market with this product.
So just to clarify then, so JSM is still the underlying product for Jira Service Management and Customer Service Management, but it's the overall end customer
they feel like they're two separate products. They're two separate project types.
Okay.
Yeah, they're obviously aligned. They do similar jobs, but they're aimed at very different markets. They have different capabilities.
Okay.
And that's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, B2C customers now being able to have more of those kind of familiar things and being able to talk and chat to their customers.
And the ability to have both on the same platform as well by buying the collection. A lot of organizations have both sorts of customers, internal service management for IT, customers as well.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
But there are, when we think about also maybe some delivery services, because that was the one they showed as like a retail company. They're going to have B2B and they're going to have B2C. So now, I can
it's
really,
really good. Yeah,
absolutely.
Very powerful. We've only seen a few highlights and hints of it.
Yeah.
My service management team have gone out and had people talk. They're very excited.
Yes.
Yeah. So I get the vibe that there's some exciting stuff coming.
Okay.
It's really good. And the really exciting thing about that is it's GA as well.
Well, that's perfect then.
Yeah. So in Anaheim, it got released to 600 customers. There were
a few beta. That's also a lot of beta customers. 600.
It's good. Yeah. And also very quick.
Yeah.
Turnaround. So yes, it's out. So it's not even we're talking about something that might be landing. It's here.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
awesome.
really good.
What's the other one that they?
So software.
Okay.
And this is where we talk about DX.
Yes.
I guess. Yeah. So there's a software collection as well, which is Compass, Bitbucket, you'd expect. Rovo, of course.
Rovo Dev.
Yeah, Rovo Dev. Pipelines, which I thought was part of Bitbucket, but now separate.
Are we seeing a little subtle hint that they might be separating?
Yeah, we are a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Might be just the funding and the costing of it, because Pipelines is a paid for feature.
Okay.
Maybe that's what
we're seeing.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit more. But DX is exciting.
Of course.
So DX is a software engineering insights tool. It's a developer experience platform. It's about making sure your developers are satisfied with what they're doing. It's about giving them metrics about how they're performing, how long they're waiting, where the bottlenecks are. And bringing those two things together because you often correlate. So if the developers are unhappy, you will expect things to take longer to get delivered.
Yeah.
It gives you that why things might be happening from a people point of view as well as what we're seeing some metrics.
I think developer we've seen obviously during some of our more private conversations, we've had this conversation about developer experience becoming more like heard of in more and more companies in terms of like a priority.
Yes.
So we would be working with you and you'd be like, okay, well, we just don't know what our devs are feeling. Therefore, we don't know maybe the reasons why. So it is developer experience about just trying to understand the human collaboration and kind of the impact that has on work.
Very much. I think if you are happy, if you're motivated, if you're satisfied at work, if you think that your skills and your value are contributing to the company, you're going to work harder. You're going to be more passionate. And if they're not, you're going to be disengaged. Your quality is going to go down.
Yeah.
We've seen this in studies time and time again. Happy employees do good work.
Yes.
Unhappy employees produce appalling work. Keeping people happy and motivated and positive is a really good thing. And it's not about giving developers pizzas anymore. A little bit that helps give you a spike of happiness, but it is more, are they feeling valued? Have they got the right tools? Are they frustrated by things taking too long to deliver? Those sorts of things.
Well, it's also some of the things that some other development experience platforms also think about is team dynamics. And actually, how are your team physically working together? And are you spotting bottlenecks in particular engineers?
Well, I believe AppFire might
they might have
a product
one
that
of
helps
those
in this space too.
Yeah.
But they might.
They might.
But my point is that there are quite a few tools that do this.
Yeah.
It's exciting that Atlassian's moving into this space because they recognise it as an industry challenge.
Yeah.
There are tools to help with this path and this way. I think it's exciting that there's all this movement in this area at this time.
Yeah. So okay, so I want to now think slightly, maybe we don't know all the answers, but I want to slightly think about DX and Compass.
Yep.
And do we think that maybe that's the route and journey that they're going to go? Because they did try with the whole checkups and stuff within Compass.
Yeah.
And obviously it's turned more and more into the service directory and health.
Yes.
Rather than team.
Yeah. So there's a lot of overlap now.
Okay.
And I think I was actually chatting to one of the DX leads, and they appreciate there are a lot of ways you can get like DevOps metrics out of the tools now. Jira's got a panel, Analytics has got some, Compass might have some, the version control systems tools you might be using might have some. There's a lot of conflicting, overlapping information giving you possibly the same information but with slightly different metrics. Who knows?
Okay.
But it's complex.
Right.
I think where you're going to is what will happen with Compass at the moment is part of the software collection. DX is still an intent to inquire. It won't happen for another month or so, and once they've acquired, then it will slowly become part of the platform. My guess is it will combine and maybe they'll be one product at the end.
Okay.
I hope so. I can't see them coexisting, or if they do coexist, they'll have slightly different purposes. You say one might be a component registry, and the other might be more of the developer experience.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So they could do exist in different forms, but there would need to be some sort of merging.
There's room for
yes.
elaboration right now. I guess we'll figure it out.
And I
as time
could say
goes
this
on.
might take a couple of years to work out, but the speed at Atlassian go, it could be that it could happen quite quickly.
I was about to say, but we've spoken. This is what, like our fifth one of these now. And like when we look over the last 2 years, Team US is big announcements.
Yep.
And 6 months later, it's here's actually how it works. Oh, and by the way, we've released it.
Yes.
Like that. The speed to delivery is insane at the moment.
It is. Yeah.
So.
And I suspect Atlassian are already planning how they move DX onto the Atlassian platform for Guard and things like that.
Yeah.
We know that's going to come probably quite rapidly, I hope.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. So
that was probably my best news for this. It's really great to see software, which is Atlassian's legacy and history, isn't it? Really coming back into focus again.
It is, and I think it's we started with the teamwork collection, which was Jira, Confluence, Loom, perfect for every team. But it's also nice to see that they are now recognizing the more, we've got strategy, we've got service, we've got software.
Yeah.
It's nice that they're providing
all
that.
teams.
Yeah, and
the system works for it. Yes.
Exactly, it really does.
Yeah. No, it's good. And there was a lot of activity across all of those verticals, if you like. The strategy, as you say, the software, the service team. Changes across all of them. All of them are focused around AI as well, of course.
Yeah. Do you know
a lot going on?
There is a lot going on, but out of all of this, the one thing which I think it's not a feature, but I'm really glad that they mentioned it, was that they are doubling down on becoming ethical with the EU AI Pact.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think for a business that maybe is slightly more conscious or maybe more regulated and governed and things like that, being able to spot that your vendors are being ethical, being responsible with the way that AI is being used and rolled out, has to give you a little bit more comfort. And I think that was I'm really glad that they called that out, actually.
Yeah, and I hope organisations followed their lead in a way of embracing that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels good. Okay.
So that's quite a wrap up.
It was.
Yes,
It was,
there
and it
was
was
a lot going on.
nice to do it over a coffee and at the end.
Yes.
It's the end. It's end of a very busy week. Obviously, Partner Accelerate for us first, then obviously straight into Teams. So it's been a busy week.
Still a party.
It is.
We're not quite at the end.
We're not at the end. We got Bash and we got some. I've got some partner dinners to go to afterwards. So yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining as always. And until the next one, thank you.